archaeology. Get out of there, Dan.
Now we're live.
All right, hey, welcome to You Call This Archaeology. I don't even know what episode we're on.
20.
20.
Because I'm actually rendering 19 right now.
Nice. Well, I'm Chris Webster of the Archaeology Podcast Network.
Yeah, and I'm Richie Cruz, the of Happy Archaeology Fun Time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I probably should have said my last name, but it's too late.
All right. I don't think our mics are live.
Really?
Yeah, because I can't hear anything.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, hang on.
So we're speaking into nothing.
Oh. How's that?
Well, there's about a 30-second delay, so I'll tell you in a minute.
Interesting.
If anybody's listening to this,
It happens every once in a
it
while.
happens every once in a while.
Huh. Oh,
Oh, now it's playing the intro again.
I know. Let's see. Monitor and output.
All right, so I'll just keep talking until this works.
Interesting.
Are you getting our mic feed is the question.
No, actually, I'm not.
Oh, it's in the headphone jack. That's
Oh.
why. Plug in the other one.
All right.
That's my fault.
I can't quite see it.
Yeah, it's just right there. There you go.
Oh, there we
Okay.
go. Now,
Yeah.
according to my monitor, we're live.
Okay. All right. So you can tell we don't do this professionally.
Oh, and the hiss is gone.
What? Really?
Well, you know, the electronic interference, there's still hiss.
Oh, okay.
But I think it's just these, it's the, the thing in this box.
Okay. Well, make sure you're just talking into the mic.
All right.
All right. I'm going to unplug this.
The hiss is gone.
Okay. And I'm going to plug in back here.
Well, you know, the elect-
Okay. God damn it.
I think it's just...
We are not professionals, except we are. Okay, so if you're listening to this, please let us know in the comments if you're listening to this, so we know you're there. We've been gone for a few weeks.
Yeah.
I had some travel. I had some out-of-town stuff, which we can talk about. But otherwise, Richie, how's it been going?
Surprisingly busy. Like, I'm not even joking.
Yeah.
Like, this is the time, like, I realize right now that I really need to upgrade my computer because I can only do one task at a time.
Yeah.
Which means that I haven't been, like, I can only do so much. Which is the reason why I'm behind in uploading podcasts, because that takes up so much of my RAM.
Right.
And everything.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not sure if there's a similar app on the Mac, but I can monitor my RAM and my DRAM at the same time, my CPU.
Mm-hmm.
And there are times when it's like 100% all of them.
Oh, wow.
And, like, I can't even check my email.
Oh, jeez.
Although, unless I won't feel like using my other computer, but I have to stand up for that.
Right. Well, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I think the solution to all your problems just got released by Apple, and it starts at $4,999.
Someone spec'd out, you know what the top of the line one for that one is?
Yeah, it's like $14,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although, you actually are getting, like, a lot of the equipment, a lot of the specs that I was planning for my next computer.
Yeah.
Like Vega, which is the graphics card they use.
Yeah.
Although they use a 64. I don't think I need a 64.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's like 3,000 or 4,000 by itself.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it really depends on what you're going to get. I've had a few people here ask me, at the Reno Collective, ask me if I'm going to get the Imac Pro, which is what we're talking about. But honestly, I don't have a use case for it right now, but that's also because I have two really solid machines that I work on consistently. You know, I have my 2017 MacBook Pro, which is, I mean, phenomenal for speed and what I need to do. And I have my, I think it's listed technically as late 2014, but I have a an iMac 5K Retina 27-inch computer. So, and I essentially maxed that one out when I bought it because I didn't want to replace it for a long time. So that's still working really well for me. I've done video on that one, like video rendering and stuff, and it's good. It's not as quick as I'd like it to be, but it's good. I haven't done any video, really solid video on my MacBook Pro yet. I've done some little stuff, but that's the only reason I think I would get something bigger.
Yeah.
And it really comes down to ROI for people. Like, if you can make back the money on the purchase of something like that, then it's something you should probably buy for your business. You know, if you can make back the money.
I can't.
I know, I can't either. So that's why I'm not going to buy one. But, you know, if you're, and we got 7 people watching the video, so thanks.
I gotta do this more often on Saturdays.
I know. Let us know you're here in the comments, or give us a thumbs up or something so we know you're here. We're up to 8. And for all of you people watching, real quick, let me mention this.
Wait, let me close the door.
Okay.
Someone's here.
Because I want to make, we're in a co-working space, so because I want to make sure people are aware. This is why I'm glad we're doing a live show, because when we record the podcast and I put promos in there, like, I'm way behind on some of my podcasts. I don't know when people are going to hear that, and if I have a discount code for gear, I'm really sad when people miss it because they heard the show after the code expired. So we have a current code, holiday15. If you use it on arcpodnet.com/shop, which I think scrolls across the screen here.
It does.
Yeah, the only thing you can't buy with it is t-shirts, because the t-shirts come out of a different company. So we can't control that. But the coffee mugs, really awesome, really stout APN coffee mug. And then stickers. Oh man, I just messed them all up. These stickers are vinyl stickers. They're really great. They're these square stickers. They're square because our podcast logos are square. And I thought that'd be really neat to have little podcast logo stickers. And I made them small so you can get them all. Like, I have them all on the back of my laptop. And it looks pretty cool, actually. We've got the APN one, and then for all the other shows, you can get the CRM pack, which includes the CRM Archaeology Podcast, Profiles in CRM, Women in Archaeology, Archaeotech, and I can't remember if I included it. I probably should if I haven't. But Heritage Voices. It's not strictly CRM, but a lot of issues in CRM. Obviously, we deal with Native American concerns and issues in cultural groups, and that's what Heritage Voices deals with. So I think it'd be good for CRM archaeologists to listen to that.
Ooh.
Yeah. So anyway, Holiday 15, you get 15% off the store, which is pretty decent. Pretty much saves you on shipping, essentially. Because shipping can be pricey, especially for that mug, because it's super heavy. It weighs like, in the box just by itself, like the mug and wrapping around it and a cardboard box is like a pound.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, it's ridiculously heavy. So, yeah, it's crazy. Did I give you one of these?
Of course.
Yeah. I mean, do you use it at all?
Of course.
Yeah. I mean, it's heavy, and it's a great mug. And I banged it on my counter and stuff, and it doesn't chip or break.
Also, I don't use it for coffee. I actually use it for orange juice.
That's weird. So
I can't help it.
I know. Anyway, so that's my quick plug for the APN. Oddly enough, because I didn't restrict it, I said anything on the store. Yeah. So if you were interested in one of the podcast consultations or something I have up there as well, it'll actually already work on that stuff as well. But I haven't really told anybody that.
Really?
If you want a couple hours of consultation on, helping you start a podcast or figuring out whether you want to start one after you've watched the free video I've got up there, which should answer most of your questions.
Oh, really?
You can use a discount on that. Yeah.
I didn't know you had a free video up there.
Yeah, I've got a free one on the podcast training page, arcpodnet.com/training. And it's my course that I teach for free here at the Reno Collective. And it's 2 hours when I do it in person because of questions and things, right?
Yeah.
But I just ran through my whole slide deck, ran through the whole thing, which you can see on the screen if you watch the video. And then it's got me down in the corner. And I went through the whole thing. And when you don't have any questions, you're surprised how quick it goes. Like, it only took an hour. So it's just under 60 minutes, I think. And it's totally free. That's going to be what the industry calls my ClickFunnel. Which, once I get the online workshop done, you'll be able to go from idea to MP3, I call it, in person it takes about 7 hours. But I think doing it on your own pace, just the video length is going to be about 5 hours of coursework. And then you'll have some stuff to do on your own. You'll have to pause the videos or stop one video, do the homework that I'm asking you to do the work, and then come back to the videos and keep going. So, but over the course of a day, you should be able to record and edit and publish a podcast.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's almost like what I'm doing right now, except for marketing.
Yeah, exactly. So, Richie, to bring this back to archaeology, is doing what every single person listening to this should be doing, except for Ryan, who is gainfully employed. He's working on his what Bill White famously calls his side hustle.
Yeah, I've got 2 of them.
And he's got 2 of them, and
actually, no, 3.
Yeah, and your side hustle for archaeologists that are listening to this, or anybody really, it can be something temporary for the winter, just to get you through the off season. We're here in Reno, Nevada. We had snow this morning in most of the low-lying hills. I thought we were supposed to get snow right down here in Reno. That was in the forecast a few days ago.
Oh, it was?
But it moved out. Yeah, it ended up not happening.
It was raining though.
It was raining, and it was that was the thing. It was supposed to. It got cold enough to snow, but the rain stopped before it got cold enough to snow. So, but we can see from our 12th floor apartment, we can see all the way across the valley, and we can see snow in the hills to the east, which is, it's got to get pretty cold for there to be snow in those hills over there.
Oh, that's true.
So anyway, the point of that is it's wintertime in the Great Basin. It's wintertime across much of the country. As you're seeing, it's wintertime in the freaking deep south.
Really?
Yeah, Alabama had like tons of snow.
That's what they get for not voting in Roy Moore.
I know, right? hell froze over, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, so the point is you might be lacking some field work, and which means you're lacking some income. And if you're like most field techs, you don't have a lot of money in the bank.
But you probably have enough for beer and sitting on the couch.
I'm telling you, you should always take some money and put it away for online learning, I think, because going to a college, learning something, it's not really cost effective from a time standpoint because you might have to take night classes or something. Doing some sort of online course, of which there are lots of them, in which you can translate that into actual online work as well. Yeah. Which is, do you want to talk a little bit about what you're doing? We can promote the course, you know.
Oh, well, I mean,
because he was on the show.
Yeah, he was. So, I forget which episode that was, but a certain Mr. Seth was like promoting his digital marketing course, and I'm like, at first, I wasn't sure what to make of it, so I signed up and I was going to go through it as quickly as possible to determine if it was a scam. But as I went through it, I actually look out for changes to hopefully to the APN website, because I've got plenty, because I gave me so many ideas. Mm-hmm. And more importantly, also gave me ideas for kickstarting Team Black.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Although, I don't know. Team Black what does that mean?
Team Black needs I've resolved not to say anything more about Team Black or release anything until what we should have done with PCS, Professional Certifications for Scientists. What we should have done with that, and because we had 5 people, I was outvoted on this. We should have waited until we had what we were calling level 1 certification complete. Yeah. And that's what I'm going to wait for with Team Black. I don't want to release something that's half-assed.
Because I was thinking, I've already designing the website and stuff in my mind. Yeah. And more importantly, thanks to the bookstore, which I no longer work at but would like to again. Oh my god, such a long story. But I know actors and cinematographers and crew people who could help us make videos.
Right.
Yeah. Like, I'm not even joking.
Well, that would be great. And I'm working on the video content in the background because there are some things that's another thing we focused on with Team Black. For anybody that doesn't know this, just a little quick background. Yeah. Professional Certifications for Scientists, or PCS, is something that I brought together, going on 3 years ago now. Well, I think it was 2 years ago, actually, this fall, early fall. And I brought some people that I was working with together, and we decided to create these training videos for archaeologists that would lead into a certification program that is desperately needed for continuing education, right? Yeah. So we were leading into that, but it's just one thing led to another, and it didn't work out. It didn't work out at all, and so we ended up having to change the name. Everybody's out of the project except for me now, and I haven't really pushed for looking for other people to help because, as I learned before, not only do I need a solid system in place when I bring somebody else in, but they're going to have to sign paperwork, just like I do. I mean, everybody's going to have to be legal and official with this. So when things go to hell, or somebody wants to leave, there's a strategy for that. Any company has an exit strategy. And that's what we didn't have at PCS. We launched before we had that, and that was bad. That was a bad idea.
Interesting. Because I already consider myself an employee of
Well, you can, but here's the question. If you contribute a whole bunch of stuff to Team Black, or if you contributed a whole bunch of stuff to the APN or something like that, and then you decided you wanted to go and you wanted to start your own thing using the material that you put together. I'm not saying you would do this, but it's your material. You put it together, and you might, some people are like, well, I made all that, and if you don't have something in place, that's why when you work for a company, there's usually something in the employee handbook that you sign that says anything I do or create here belongs to the company. And I forget what the actual legal terminology for that is, but we basically didn't have that. So we got a cease and desist order from some lawyers and had no choice but to cease and desist because we didn't have that agreement.
Yeah, but when I'm paid from DigTech, it's like from you.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you don't have that agreement.
Yeah.
Well, if you're getting paid, that's a different story.
See?
That's kind of an implied agreement, which a court will uphold in a lot of cases, unless you have really expensive lawyers, which who does?
Yeah, well, what archaeologist would.
I know. Well, with PCS, there was no pay, there was no anything. We were all volunteers. Yeah. We all started this together. Yeah. and it just went to hell in a short time. So
More
anyway,
if I wanted to start something of my own, it would definitely be in my own style and completely different.
Well, for sure, yeah. But that's the thing. Like a lot of the material that we put together with PCS, we washed through our entire process, and I still have it. I'm not using the videos we shot because it involves people that no longer want to be a part of that, right? But I have a lot of the outline material that we put together that we all went through. So we washed it through all of our process. So it's not owned by anyone anymore. And also, it's material that's commonly known in archaeology. Like you can't...
Well, unless you're brand new.
Well, it's commonly known in archaeological circles, not by archaeologists. So it's like I can't go and copyright the idea of how gravity works, right? Nobody owns that, right? It's too old. It's already out there. It belongs to everyone. We all know about it. It's like the material we have is all about, if we have a video on tin cans, sure, I might change some of the words or something, and I'm going to put it together a little different way. But this is what I'm talking about as far as shooting the videos goes. I want to do it a little more like a lot of the other stuff is done out there, where it's and I use ScreenFlow for my Mac and Prezi for presentations, and I want to basically instead of doing most of these live and outside, with lighting, with cameras, with audio, with access issues, with cars going by, with all that headache, instead of doing that for most of these early videos, I just want to shoot them in the studio here with a background with the slide presentation on the screen.
Wow, I was already thinking the same thing.
Yeah. Because that's easy to do.
Yeah.
And it's easy to control. Now, if we ever got to the point where we actually were bringing in some money, we could build a studio or rent a studio or have a film crew and actually level these up, then we would.
No, but slide presentations, especially animations for like close-ups of like artifacts, are much easier to understand than like a filmed thing. Right. Plus, it's also interesting. The course I'm taking, actually, that's what Seth uses.
Yeah. I know the animation software he uses too. Yeah, and it's not hard to do. It's pretty easy, quick stuff. Yeah, it's even doing the animation though is a little more work than I want to put into it for the first iteration. It's really, I need to put together the slide presentations, which means I'm gathering all the information. Just get those recorded and get them up, because really, I mean, in the end, people don't care about how flashy it looks. People care about learning. Yeah. So I want to get the information up there. But I need to do it for 50 to 60 videos first. I mean, it's a big level 1, and I want it to be value. I want it to have value right away. That's what we failed on with PCS. We promised a whole bunch of stuff. We released it piecemeal, and this is why we ended up shutting it down, is because the people that I had working on this, we couldn't keep to the schedule. We kept passing deadlines that we'd set for ourselves. Yeah. And we couldn't stick to anything. So I felt like we weren't honoring the people that were watching this stuff and expecting stuff from us.
Interesting, because I've already outlined like videos for like the introductory website, because it's like, if you're a student and you're graduating and you see this and you see that, you're like, why do I need that at all? Or why do I want to go into cultural resources management? I want to be a professor. Or I want to go work in South America forever. Or I want to go around the world and do this and that. And of course, that's not realistic. So you have to explain to them why you're probably going to end up in CRM Archaeology, or going to go get another degree, or end up working in something else. I want to help them make an informed decision about what they're jumping into before they even think about getting a certification. Right. Because I mean, some people end up hating it.
Oh yeah. Well, and that's kind of the idea too behind what the industry, Richie and I were talking about this before, called ClickFunnels. ClickFunnels are a marketing term, basically, that says, here, look at this, and hopefully it funnels you into the paid content, right? Yeah. But it's not necessarily a bad thing. No. It's not designed to manipulate you into paying for something. It's designed to whet your appetite. Yeah. And if you want to pay for it, the funnel takes you down in this stream, this pipeline that says, here's where you can get the really solid content. Yeah. But anybody who, I listen to a lot of entrepreneur and startup podcasts, and anybody who will tell you anything about ClickFunnels, they say make your ClickFunnels, which means the initial thing. This is why I put up that free course, that free 1 hour video, is because that's actually high quality information. And a lot of people, if they're really good self-starters, they already have a bunch of information, they can probably just go to town right from that video. Yeah. They wouldn't even need to go farther. True. But if you want to go farther, you can do that. And that's what I want to create for Team Black, which is like Team Black Ops, if you can think of it that way. Yeah. But that's what I want to create for that, is I want to create some solid introductory stuff, like you mentioned, that's actually really good, high quality information that somebody can gain value from for free. Yeah. And if they want to invest in themselves and go a little farther with it, they could dig deeper into the website.
Oh my God! Well, it's just like I was looking at for references. I was looking up at the Art of Charm website, and of course, the whole point of like they do these awesome podcasts, but it's to funnel you into their training.
Yeah, the live trainings.
Yeah,
yeah,
which sounds super awesome. I want to do that if I had like money.
They're not cheap.
I know.
Yeah,
but I'd rather buy a new computer first. But
I know, which is about what they probably cost.
Yeah,
yeah, it's a few $1,000s, I think.
Yeah, but if you listen to the podcast, it's like wow, like what's the live training going to be like?
Well, and it's like it's all about ROI, return on investment. Yeah. If if, like we said before, if you're going to buy a $5,000 computer, but you're going to make that money back in a month on jobs and clients, well, then buy a $5,000 computer. True. It's the same thing with like archaeology companies buying a new truck. If you've got a shitty old truck and you spent so much time, or let's even make it easier than that. Tires are an easy thing to buy, right?
Yeah.
You might spend $1,500 on a set of 5 10-plies, for your truck. You might spend $2,000. I don't know. But they can be expensive tires. But if over the course of the last month, you had a crew of 4 people, and maybe even more than that, because when you got trucks caravanning, they all stop.
Yeah.
And you've got... I've been out on a project where we had 12 people or 16 people all standing there while a tire got changed on one truck, and it took 30 minutes because no one knew how to do it.
What?
So you take 30 minutes times 12 people standing there at $80 an hour billable.
Yeah.
Jesus, you could have bought new tires time and again.
Yeah.
So, but if you spend the money early on and you invest in your equipment, or you invest in yourself in this case, then it's beneficial to everyone later on. It's better for the bottom line. It's better for your own bottom line.
I keep bringing this up, but it's like the Ruby Pipeline, the company I worked for.
That's where I was talking about.
Oh.
But different company.
Oh, all right. Oh, they bought them too?
No, well, I was on the... Well, they had 10-plies eventually, but not on everything, because when they get a new rental, it didn't have 10-plies on it.
Well, because, the company I worked for, Far Western, that's like the first thing they did. They had a whole lineup of trucks, like trucks that went out with 10-plies, and trucks that didn't, that needed to go to the tire shop.
I think it was just, they had some trucks of their own, but they had mostly rentals. This was Pacific Legacy. Yeah. And they had mostly rentals, but occasionally... They'd get something, because I think they had, I'm not sure, I wasn't privy to this back-end information, but I thought they had like tires and wheels set up, so when they got a rental, they could just swap them all out.
Yeah.
And then when they give the rental back, they'd swap them back in. But I think they just had, because they were constantly getting rentals, turning them back in, getting new ones. Because the rental company, Enterprise, they usually are like, hey, can you bring this vehicle back? We need to swap it out with something else or something like that, if it gets too high mileage or whatever. If it needs an oil change, typically you're not allowed to do that yourself unless they allow you to. You got to bring it back and get a new vehicle. Or wait on it, for that to get an oil change. But anyway, that was my example for that. I don't think they're not a good example of a company that was doing something wrong. It's just that particular vehicle didn't have 10-plies on it yet. We were driving over a lot of obsidian and sharp rocks. So that happens. Of course, even 10-plies can't handle driving over obsidian sometimes.
Sometimes.
It's bad. But anyway, the whole point of this is, it's wintertime, invest in yourself, take an online marketing course.
Or something else.
Yeah, what's the course called that you're taking?
Oh my God.
Can you remember the name of it?
Oh shit. Okay, I probably shouldn't swear. But unfortunately, it's all on my home desktop computer.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what was it? InDemandMarketing.com, I think.
That's right.
What Seth's course is.
That's right.
Yeah,
Seth Himes. He's living by his own message too. I mean, he's currently in the Philippines. We've got his car actually. He's been in the Philippines for almost 2 months now, almost 3 months now, because he left beginning of October.
Wow.
And he's been out there just having fun. He's still doing work and stuff, maintaining his forums and his email list, but he's doing it remotely, living over there in some resorts and different things like that. And he's actually putting up pictures on his Facebook page of people he's met that have taken his course.
Really?
One guy he met, because he keeps contact with them, because they stay in the forums and things, and they know that he's traveling.
Interesting. I thought that was a forum letter he sent me. Because he's like, how's it going?
Probably not.
How's it going?
Yeah,
wow,
it probably was him.
That.
Yeah, it's not a form letter. One of the guys was like living in his car in New Zealand or something, and now he's making $70K a year and living in the Philippines.
Whoa.
So I mean, if you do it right, it's not going to. It's like anything. Whatever your side hustle is not going to work perfectly the first time around for 80% of people.
No.
There's that 20% that always gets lucky, but you're still going to have to work at it, and you're still going to have to figure out what's going on.
And more importantly, you always need a side hustle, because like there were weird years like this year where like a certain company out of Utah forced a whole bunch of like offices to close in the Great
Right.
Basin, and like you could either work for this terrible company, I'm not going to mention the name because I don't like them, or you can just go get another job. So I'm
Right,
like,
right.
ick. I'm like, ick. And of course, the only companies here in town that were hiring were companies that wouldn't hire me,
Right.
or people I didn't want to work for. I'm not going to mention names because some of them are some of them are good archaeologists. I'm just like
Yeah.
I just don't like their personal style.
Yeah. Yeah. Indeed.
You can like someone, you can like their work, but you can not necessarily like working with them.
Right.
So before I forget,
Yeah.
before you go on, do you want to give your 5-minute review of the Chevy Volt, or is it Bolt?
It's a Volt. The Chevy Volt, yeah, because Seth, who we were just talking about, he left his car with us, and my wife's been driving it to work. We were actually just talking about it. We've had it since October 1st,
Yeah.
I think, and I think it was about October 1st or so, September 30th, give or take.
Yeah.
And Seth gave it to us with about a half a tank of gas.
Yeah.
And it's got full electric capability. It's not a hybrid in the sense like our Prius that we used to have would go use gas and electric at the same time.
Yeah.
This thing uses the electric battery until that's gone, and then it switches to the gas. So if you never let the electric battery die,
Yeah.
you never use gas. So he gave it to us with a half a tank of gas 2.5 months ago.
Yeah.
And we're just talking about maybe putting gas in it this week. Because she said it's down to a quarter of a tank. Because she doesn't have a good place to charge it. Like, we can't charge it in our parking spot.
Yeah.
So she's got to either charge it at work by running a cord in the door, or we go over to the casino next door and use their electric vehicle
Yeah.
charging station. And because we can't charge it at our home.
Yeah.
And if we could, we'd never have to worry about gas. Because she only uses about 10 miles to and from work.
Really?
And the electric battery gives you about 50 miles total.
Wow.
So she only has to charge it up once every few days. But yeah, 2.5 months without putting gas in it yet, and it only came with half a tank.
Man.
So she'll probably fill it up at some
Yeah.
point, it's only got like a 9 or 10 gallon tank, so it's not going to cost that much. It costs me like $30 to fill it up.
Wow.
And then we probably won't put gas in it again until Seth comes home and we give the car back to him.
Wow. I bet that doesn't. Wow. I bet you really want your Model 3 now.
My God. Full electric vehicle, man. That's all I'm looking for. So, but I was thinking about it when I drove. I did a lot of driving this last week because I drove to Seattle and back. And, there are gas stations and some rest areas up in like Washington and stuff that have electric vehicle charging stations.
Yeah.
But they're still not that quick. Like, if you want to go full electric, and maybe if you're just topping off your charge, that's one thing. But if you showed up there with a dead electric battery, or almost dead,
You're camping.
yeah, you're going to be sitting there for a few hours. Now you don't have to fully charge it before you go. If you just
Yeah.
have another 50 miles to go, you can charge it for 30 minutes and then get on the road. But
Yeah.
Seth's car, it only has a 50-mile capacity on that tank, on the battery, and I mean it takes like. Depending on the charger you use, because some charging stations are rapid charging, they pump a
Yeah.
lot more electricity into it. Most of them are not. But if you, it takes anywhere from 4 to like 8 hours to fully charge that vehicle.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's not short,
Interesting.
Now that some of the Teslas and some of the other higher end vehicles and the newer vehicles, because that space
Yeah.
is changing rapidly. Seth's car is like a year old, and it's already technically old in the electric vehicle market.
Wow.
Because it's everything's changing so fast. So there are rapid charging stations for like Teslas. Tesla's got them
Yeah.
all over California.
Ooh.
You stop at one of those, you'll pay a few dollars like you
Yeah.
would gas, but you charge it and it takes 30 minutes to charge your car up. I don't know what the actual time is. Don't quote me on that. But it's faster than,
Yeah.
it means you can sit there and it's not going to be like really impede your,
Yeah.
your progress.
Oh wait, can you give a review of Apple CarPlay?
Yeah, I've used that in other vehicles too, and Apple CarPlay is pretty sweet and seamless. It's pretty amazing. Puts apps right up on your screen from your device that are CarPlay enabled.
Wow.
And it's just like using your phone on the screen. It's very touch responsive and it's pretty nice. So
Wow.
yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Makes me want the other Chevy, the little one.
Which one is that?
They have a little all-electric.
I don't know what that's called.
It's
Yeah.
also, I think that's the Bolt. That's the one I'm
that
thinking
might be the
of.
Bolt. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's like, what, 25,000 after rebates? Maybe
Yeah, I don't
less?
know, something like that, which
Yeah.
is pretty good.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I mean, assuming that I ever finish this course, which I probably will. I mean, I already finished like the main meat of it. I just got to do a few extra things.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Plus, it doesn't have to be digital marketing or something you have to pay for, by the way.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, like, the graphics you're looking at now on this screen, like, I taught myself that one winter. Well,
Right.
technically, actually, one of the companies we worked for paid for it.
Nice.
Because, I was working on the report that was never finished.
Yeah.
God, I forget what report that was. The one where you drew that giant thing.
Yeah, that was a mercury mine or something like that. I can't remember what it was called. Anyway, let's move on before I forget. I purchased a booth at the Society for California Archaeology meetings in San Diego.
Ooh.
So if you happen to be in Southern California, Ryan, if you're still watching, I know you're probably going. And given your involvement with Alan, you might even be helping out at the California Rock Art Foundation booth. I don't know. They usually have a booth at these conferences.
They do?
Yeah, the California Rock Art Foundation almost always has a booth at the Western conferences. At the very least, the SCA.
Yeah.
They'll have one there. And San Diego's not that far from where Ryan and Alan are, based out of. So
yeah.
So they could easily get down there.
Oh my God! I always makes me laugh about the Society for California Archaeology meetings. Usually they have Mr. Dave.
Oh yeah.
manning a booth. Like he's not officially manning it. He's just like there, and you can go and meet him.
He always has like a fan club too.
On Facebook.
I was gonna interview him last year, and it just never worked out. So, but that was partly because the APN booth wasn't really set up for interviewing that much. Because it wasn't
be this year.
It wasn't an APN booth. It was a Codify booth.
Huh.
And I just had APN kind of off on the side, and I wasn't. I was focusing on Codify because Michael had paid for Codify to be there. Yeah. So ethically, I was only dealing with APN stuff if somebody asked me about it. Really.
Yeah.
This is solely an APN booth that we're gonna have. It's not, nobody else is gonna be there. There's no Dig Tech, there's no Codify, there's no Team Black, nothing. It's just APN.
Oh my God! And if it's at the same hotel that it was the last time I was in San Diego, it's gonna be crazy because it's a giant hotel complex. Oh my! With a mall and like a subway stop and everything.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's kind of surprising for the SCA. Yeah.
It's crazy fancy.
Especially given where it was last time, up in the lodge near Yosemite. That was ridiculous. It was fun though. I really loved that place. That was an amazing place to stay,
Although my only question is whether I should fly down or whether I should drive down, because I always enjoyed the drive.
Well, I'm definitely driving down because I got a bunch of shit to bring with me, so, I have to drive.
Because I love going down 395.
Yeah. So, and I'll release a little bit more information now because I don't think it's confidential. Richie doesn't know this either. I'm going to be working. I'm interested in working with any company.
Yeah.
That is bringing digital archaeology and digital site recording to the masses, right?
Yeah.
Codify was that company early on for me, but they've kind of changed their direction on who they're focusing on a little bit and how they're focusing their stuff. They're still doing it. They're just not. It's not an app you can go buy on the App Store, right? And that's really what I want. I want something people can subscribe to easily, go buy an app on the App Store and just do archaeology. It doesn't need to be complicated, It doesn't need. It can be. You can get the high-end, really close, just amazing service, but I think using the 80-20 rule, I think 80% of archaeologists just want something that works out of the box and they don't have to deal with it, right?
Yeah.
Well, a company that is, and I've only messed with their stuff a little bit, but enough to know that it's a potentially decent solution for us now. It's called WildNote.
Oh, Wait, was that the one you interviewed before? Yeah,
go to the arcpodnet.com website and type in WildNote in the search bar.
Well, yeah, I remember editing that episode.
Yeah, that's when you were editing, and you'll find that episode. It was like back in August or July or something. So check them out, but I've had recent contact with them, and I'm probably going to go to their offices in San Luis Obispo sometime in January.
Neat.
And we're going to talk about doing, some partnership on because they're an environmental company that kind of started this, but their focus right now is on bio and water quality and things like that, but they could easily be transitioned into CRM as well.
Ooh.
But they need somebody to help them do that because they're not archaeologists.
And I presume you're going to make like a little vacation trip out of it? If you're going to be down the slow?
I don't know. I have that's already a busy week for me with some other things going on. So I have... We're looking at that particular week. That's Saturday. I already have to be here in Reno for something for Civil Air Patrol, so it's already on the schedule. Yeah, and the Saturday before that, I'm here in Reno, so it's going to be midweek sometime.
Yeah, but how often do you get down there?
I don't know. Anyway, so we'll see. We'll have more information on that as we come down. Again, nothing's official, nothing's planned. We're just having a conversation right now. But I would urge you to check out WildNote. At least go to their website, just WildNote app, I think it is, or just type in WildNote and you'll find it. And check them out because they've got a pretty great price point too. I want to say it was like $25 to $50 a month to use their service.
Wait, didn't they give you like a discount code, or is that still not active?
Well, you can use it for. I don't think that's active anymore. If they did,
all right,
it wouldn't be anyway. But either way, You get full access to their app for 30 days for free if you just go sign up.
Yeah.
If you just want to try it. So go check it out. It's got a little bit of a learning curve, but like everything does. But to make it work for your own purposes, go sign up, get the free trial, and see how it's going to work.
Well, I mean, how much harder could it be used than TerraSync?
Well, that's everything's easier than TerraSync.
By the way, speaking of technology, it's one of the things I wanted to bring up because it's like one of those stories where it's like kind of a rambling one. But originally, I was looking at Android and Qualcomm just had their thing, right? Where they're introducing like new things, and like one of their chips is like it's gonna go in laptop computer. I thought that is so weird. Why would you put a phone chip in a computer? But it turns out that the latest that ARM just introduced, whether you have an Apple or an Android, it uses ARM chips or ARM architecture.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and that's like the whole thing. And apparently the newest version of ARM, the design specifications they released, are compatible with x86 applications, which means that you can technically use one chipset for running all your applications. You don't need Android and then Windows. You can just have one app that just goes from one device to another.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I was thinking, man, so we're getting that point where it's like convergence. You can just like have your phone and just like go back and forth. You don't need to bother with iOS or with OS or all that stuff.
Yeah.
So it's just like, man, and yet archaeologists are still way behind. Yeah, but that's because I thought it was so weird. It's like, why would you introduce, if it's not a Chromebook, then what is it? And then I heard that you can run Windows apps on it. Right. Which is why Windows is actually why Microsoft is coming out with universal applications that are going to take advantage of this new architecture. And I assume Apple is too, probably at some point.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. That would be pretty handy.
Yeah.
Take care of that.
So. My God. And you can run like apps on your car.
Oh yeah.
I assume.
That's one thing. I mean, CarPlay is great and all, but I've never understood why you don't have just a direct interface, with your screen. Yeah. And it's like cars are always a little behind as far as the interface goes.
Yeah.
It's really crazy.
Like Dodge or I guess Fiat Chrysler just introduced like the craziest thing. It's like supposedly it's like this big feature, but it's like the most obvious thing ever. You go to your home screen, right? And then you've got like your radio, your navigation, all this stuff, and then at the bottom. And then you have the whole list of apps above. For the first time, Chrysler apparently is the first company that figured out that that people just want to drag an app, drop it to the home bar, and leave it there. Literally, that's like the new thing for like their Uconnect.
Yeah, and they're all excited about it, probably.
Yeah. They just introduced it on the new Jeep.
Yeah, and you're like, what the hell? This was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice.
Oh my God, it doesn't feel like we've been talking that long, but it's probably been like, what, 20 hours?
I don't know about 20 hours, but it's been about 37 minutes.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Oh, good, because according to this, it's like 50 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I probably shouldn't be like that.
Yeah. Yeah, you're kind of covered in a bunch of equipment here. I can see it on the screen.
Shoot.
Anyway, yeah. So if you're going to be down at the SCAs, come see us for sure.
Yeah.
If Richie can get down there,
I probably will.
Probably going to be in the booth for a little bit and helping out. And come on by. We'll be doing interviews and we'll have swag for sale and maybe some giveaways. So.
Man, help us decide what sort of swag we should bring down, because I still feel like the koozie is the good idea.
Yeah, leave something in the comments. What do you want to see with the APN logo on it that you would actually purchase?
Yeah, would you buy a koozie for $4? Yeah,
totally.
Especially if it was like SCA branded. Not SCA branded, but commemorative.
Yeah, if it's the SCA edition.
Yeah.
Yeah. I told Richie this. The only reason I need to gauge interest on that because I don't want to come away with 50 SCA branded koozies that I can't do anything with at the end of it.
Yeah, but the one I was looking at, it's so cool. It's camo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People still like camo? Is camo still in?
Well, it works for some archaeologists.
I'm thinking bright orange, so you can always find your beer.
Oh, by the way, do we know anything else about that whole thing in Minnesota that everyone was freaking out about?
Oh, the CRM department, basically the SHPO office moving.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. There's been some information and some good discussions. Basically, what I know is, and I don't know why this is a horrible thing, but apparently the SHPO office is based out of the Minnesota Historical Society office, and according to Tom King, that's not unusual. That's a relatively, I don't know if I'd say common, but it's happened before.
Yeah.
But they're moving to something like the admin office for the state or something like that. It's an admin office somewhere. And I'm not sure why that's a terrible thing. Why is that going to destroy the SHPO or something like that?
Yeah.
Or maybe whoever originally posted that thought that that's what was going to happen as they were shutting down the Historical Society office. Maybe they didn't know they were opening up the other one. I'm not really sure. But really, where the conversation went on the thread I was following, was, what's the worst case scenario if we don't have a SHPO?
Missouri doesn't have one, right?
I don't know. Well, states have. I can't speak to that for sure, but I know, according to Tom King, he was saying, states have, throughout the years, sometimes there's no SHPO and sometimes there is. Sometimes they can't find the funding and sometimes there is, but they still have to follow federal regulation. It's just now there's oversight from different agencies. So I personally don't think. I think it's good to have the SHPO. They do things for us, but I'm not sure that. I'm sure that not having it is like the worst thing in the world.
Because all they do is collate records and assign site numbers.
Well, they do different things in different states.
Oh.
In Nevada, they probably have are less effective since most of the land is managed by the BLM anyway, or Forest Service. So,
Yay.
But in a lot of states where they don't have federal land, it's all state land, state or private. Then the SHPO has a greater responsibility in those areas.
Oh, that's totally Minnesota though.
Yeah, well, probably is. Yeah. So.
Well, someone who worked there a lot. It's like if.
Yeah.
It's like I didn't realize there were such things as right-of-way agents and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So.
What else has been going on since we have been away? Oh my God, barriers. Did we talk about that?
Barriers?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
The National Monument.
Oh, bear ears.
Yeah.
Yeah. They said barriers, like wall barriers. No, we haven't talked about that, but I posed a question. I actually kicked off. Sometimes I'll intentionally start a conversation on Facebook where I know it's going to polarize people a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm willing to take the sacrifice that I'm coming off as having a strong opinion one way or the other.
Yeah.
Just so I can start an active conversation, right?
Yeah.
So one of the posts I put up was, talking about, because I knew somebody was going to say something snarky about it, so I wanted to start the conversation.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, with, Bears Ears and Escalante being reduced and basically opened up, first off, that doesn't remove protections from sites. I mean, it just makes it so, like every other site on the planet, or at least in this country, it still has to go through the Section 106 process, so we still have to go through that like we do for all the work that we do, right?
Yeah.
It's just if it's in a monument, it's, less likely that a developer is going to come in there. But that also doesn't mean that's not going to happen. You go to Yosemite or Yellowstone or any one of these big national monuments, guess what? They have buildings, they have roads, they have all kinds of stuff.
Electricity.
Yeah, and a CRM project was done, whether it was by the park archaeologists or a private firm, but they still did, some sort of cultural resources assessment for that project, even though it was on a monument. So, but I understand what people are saying. Now, bigger projects would come through, like, mining and minerals extraction and things like that. That's what everybody's always afraid of. And, but I guess my point is, they're still going to need CRM done. And the post I put up, though, was, in order to not support this from the government, what would happen if we just didn't support the firms? Like, if we tell firms, hey, don't take projects that are there. Like, if no firm bid on the project, Tom King seemed to think that, because he weighed in that conversation too.
Yeah.
He never really provided any answers, but he kept saying, well, what do you think's going to happen if nobody bids on that project? He kept saying that all the regulation requires out of NHPA is that the agency take into account the effects of the undertaking on the property. And we've interpreted that over the years to mean we got to do a survey, or we got to do excavation, or we've got to do something from an archaeological standpoint. There are, of course, other things you can do. You can do avoidance, you can do all kinds of different things, but they just have to take into account the effects of the undertaking on the resource, right? So, but what does that mean?
And it doesn't mean they have to mitigate it.
No, but they have to take those effects into account. So what does that mean? Typically, like I said, that results in an inventory, because you have to know what's there before you can take those effects into account.
Yeah.
So an early, in some places called a Phase 1 survey, is done, a Class 3 cultural resource inventory, we also call it. That's done to assess what's there. Yeah. And then, you start making determinations based on that information. I'm actually not sure what the answer is if nobody bid on a project.
Yeah, probably just get someone else to do it.
No, that's my point is, if you could actually connect everyone together and say, no one bid on this, no one get the project, even if they're trying to give it away, they double the price. Even if nobody does this thing, if nobody does anything, what would happen?
Waiver.
What would happen if they couldn't? I mean, not necessarily, though. You can't just get a waiver. If that were the case, then they wouldn't put anything out to bid. Nothing would ever get done. They'd just say, well, if we don't need to do it, let's not do it.
Exactly.
So, anyway, I don't know.
That's what Mr. President would want.
Well, I know. It was an interesting conversation, and, it didn't go the direction I wanted it to go. I wanted people to really talk about that, like what would happen if nobody bid on this,
Yeah.
But, and I kind of posed it in a confrontational way. I was like, we should, pretty much blacklist the companies that do accept projects down there. But people were taking it another way and saying, they were saying, I would rather my company did this or a good company did this because otherwise a bad company's going to do it and they're going to do a shitty job. And I'm like, I had to take that conversation another direction, and I was like, listen, if you know about a bad company that's doing bad work, why are you sitting on that information? Why aren't you telling someone?
Everyone tells everyone. I mean, we all know what the bad companies are.
Yeah, but nobody does anything about it.
Exactly.
Are they actually bad companies, or do they just have bad people working for them? Are they actually doing substandard work constantly, or is it one person they have working for them? And if you have this information, why aren't you, and I'm going to put this right on you, Richie, because you just said yes, why aren't you even anonymously telling the BLM, telling SHPO, saying, hey, this company, I was on this project, they did this thing, it can be done anonymously, and now their permit can be reviewed.
Because one company in 20 years has lost their permit, temporarily?
That's because no one ever bitches. No one ever says anything. And this conversation we were having on Facebook was absolute proof of that. Everybody on there was like, oh, I knew this company that did this and this and this. Like, okay, what'd you do about it? Nothing. Okay, then you're part of the problem.
Although, if they did start offering double the money, how many, what company is going to resist that?
Well, I know. In reality, somebody would do the project.
Yeah, especially if they were offering double the money.
This was a thought experiment. In thought experiments, anything is possible. So,
like companies having ethics?
The point I took away from all this is if people have all this information and then they can prove it about companies actually mismanaging projects or doing whatever consistently, then they shouldn't sit on that information.
Although sometimes it's like a matter of opinion. Some companies, some companies, they do stuff that for archaeologists are crappy, but if you're a biologist, you're like, wow, that's awesome. I know a whole bunch of Midwestern biology companies, double bunking is just what you do. Mm-hmm. And yet, as an archaeologist, you're not going to stand for it. It's like the worst company in the world if you double bunk. Ever.
Yeah, but double bunking is not unethical.
I know.
It's just their policy.
Yeah, but I mean, that's like how some companies just get a bad reputation, even though, by archaeologist standards, they're terrible companies. But if you're a biologist or a botanist or something, they're like awesome. Right.
I mean, if they are turning in a report with a proper assessment of the resources, they're not changing any information. They're not being unethical about their information. They're just here's what we found and here's what we think about it. And yet they pay their people shit and double bunk them and don't have a rain day policy and all these other things that people hate. That doesn't make them a bad company from an archaeological standpoint. Yeah. It makes them a bad employer.
See, because we know at least one company here in town who pays the lowest wages in town.
Yeah,
and yet their reports are surprisingly good.
Yeah, I often find that the companies with bad reputations for pay and per diem and lifestyle and all that stuff, sometimes, not all the time, their salaried employees, the ones that are actually writing the reports, are actually fairly well taken care of.
Yeah,
so they put out good information, they put out good reports, and I have a feeling, I always give people the benefit of the doubt in this business. I don't care who you are, how long you've been in it.
Yeah.
There's very few people, I think, and they're probably people that are way up in some sort of agency system that are way out of boots on the ground archaeology.
Yeah.
And they're just out of the system, so they've kind of lost touch with that.
Yeah.
I think those people might be subject to a little bit of, scrutiny sometimes. But I think everybody else, I'm just like, I give them the benefit of the doubt. They're archaeologists. They're our friends. They're our colleagues. Yeah. And they're trying to do a good job. And they're in this business not to make $1 million because nobody's going to do that. They're in this business because they want to be in this business. Like one of the questions posed on the conversation about the Minnesota thing was I was posing the question, what what is the consequence if there's no SHPO? And one of the people said, one of the guys in charge of the conversation was like, he's like, well, now the BLM and the Forest Service and things like that, they're going to be the ones, oversighting their own projects and doing things like that. And I said, he's like, could you imagine what world that would be? And I was like,
yes.
I was like, yeah, I know half the BLM archaeologists in this state. They're like friends of mine.
Yeah.
They're like people I trust and respect to do a good job.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're going to, brush stuff under the rug just because they're the government.
Yeah.
They're not the government. They're your friends and colleagues that you go to conferences and see.
See? And it's just like, like one of the people I saw in Elko. Like, we've known each other since field school.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of amazing. We have a couple other friends who, unfortunately, live in Battle Mountain now, and work for the BLM there. But we know them. They're good
Tim
people.
Works for them too?
No, I don't think Tim does. Unless he does now. I have no idea, actually. But, we know those people, and they're good people.
Sure.
It's just like people at SHPO.
Yeah.
Those are also typically archaeologists that work their way into a government job. And on the same thread of conversation here, we always talk about, we want that cushy salaried job with all the benefits. Those are government jobs.
Yeah.
Like every single one of us would probably take a government job if we could find one. Well, depending on the job.
Wait, weren't you offered a job with NDOT? Or am I wrong?
I don't think I was offered one.
Oh.
Yeah, I remember I've talked to people a few times, but I don't think I've ever actually been offered. But I don't think I've never applied.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so...
Would you?
At this point, no, because I feel like I don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah.
I want to do this.
See?
So, But if I were still in CRM and I didn't own a company, then I would probably be looking for probably an agency job, because I think I'd be all right there. But anyway, point is, they're not the devil.
No.
Just because they work for the government doesn't mean they're bad. They're not politicians. They're not elected. They don't have an agenda. They're just trying to pay their bills.
Yeah.
And do a good ethical job at the same time.
And most of them, they're just in the office reading the worst reports in the world. Like, God, where did you learn to write English?
Right.
In Spain?
Yeah.
Although, to circle back to the beginning, there are companies like Far Western that treat their employees awesome and do good work.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, man.
But that's why you got to take information online with a grain of salt sometimes, because even though Far Western, I think, for people who have been in this business long enough, they have a better reputation than a bad one, right?
Yeah.
Like if you were to rate them on a scale of 1 to 10, they're probably in the top half, right?
Yeah.
Which is good for a company that's been around for a while.
Yeah.
However, you're still going to find someone, for every single company on the planet, you're still going to find someone that just had the worst experience of their life.
That's true.
And they're going to be the most vocal ones about it. Even my company, I've employed a total of 10 people?
Yeah.
10 different people or something like that?
Yeah.
I'm willing to bet, I didn't know it. I try my best to make sure people have a good experience, but I wouldn't be surprised if one of those, just statistically speaking, maybe doesn't look fondly on their time at Dig Tech. I have no idea. I don't know that. I've never heard anything. But maybe there's somebody out there that wasn't happy, but they weren't vocal enough about it that I wasn't able to fix it. So I'm just saying, regardless of the size of the company, there's always somebody that's not going to be happy with what you're doing.
True.
And you just gotta, it's like looking at YouTube comments. You can't actually read them all and take them at face value, because a lot of times it's just people angry on the internet.
Well, the last 2 comments I got were phone numbers, I love archaeology, call this number.
Yeah, that seems legit.
See?
Yeah.
I'm from India.
I know. Half the comments I still get on my blog, which I don't even write for anymore, are college writing services. Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah, I see those. They're like, hey, your content is great on this blog. Check out College Writing Service, and we can write your papers for you. It's like, thanks, buddy. That's great.
I'd rather have Siri do it.
I know, right? So, anyway, my recording stopped, so I'm not going to have this audio.
Oh, really? Is your card full?
Yeah, I forgot to wipe it out.
Oh.
The card this thing came with is only 2 gigs, and I already had some stuff on there.
But then Zoom has limits, doesn't it, on the cards it can take and format?
Well, I can put a 32 or a 64 in there easily.
Really?
I just haven't replaced it yet. I need to take it out of I've got a 32 in my H4 that I need to just put in here.
Wow, I've got one sitting on my desk that I haven't opened yet.
It's usually not a problem because I record shorter things in here and then I wipe it out when I pull it off. But I forgot about it this time. So anyway, I think I kind of made the conscious decision, and I think I'm going to get rid of the page on the APN site.
Oh, yeah.
That this is just going to be a live-only show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because so the last thing I think we'll talk about, because we're at an hour now,
Ooh.
is I went to a conference this weekend. That's
Yeah.
what I was in Seattle for this last weekend, called PodCon. And
Yeah.
I saw them on Indiegogo, and I picked up a ticket because it didn't cost very much. And I was like, worst case scenario, if I don't like it, I'm in Seattle. I go see my grandma. I went to stay up there for a few days to see family
Yeah.
anyway. And but it turns out it was a very interesting conference. It was by the people that put on VidCon, apparently, which I didn't know that was a thing.
Wait, you didn't know about VidCon?
I didn't know about VidCon.
What?
But
That's like my favorite con of that type.
well, it's the same people that put on VidCon, they put on PodCon. Yeah.
Wow.
So it was weird because while they had the workshops and presentations that were focused around creating things, you know, podcast creators and people who are business owners and things like that.
Wait, let me guess. It was also about beating people.
Yeah, well, it was. They had signings, like autograph signings. There was cosplay going on.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody's familiar with the Adventure Zone podcast.
Well, we are now.
We are now, yeah. It's basically three guys that
Yeah.
actually had a pretty successful show before that, but
Yeah.
it's three guys playing D&D with their father, and that's what the Adventure Zone is.
Oh, that's like one of my favorite podcasts I listen to.
Yeah, well, and that's so that's what their show is, and there were people costume playing, if you don't know what cosplay is,
Yeah.
as the characters they created for their D&D story.
Wow, that's just like VidCon.
Yeah, well, that's what it is.
Neat.
So they were doing this. There was those people, and then, but anyway, where I was going with that is one of the workshops I went to was all on monetizing, and I went to another one on live podcasts. And
Yeah.
the monetizing one was interesting because they said some of the things you can offer your premium subscribers, whether you've got something like the APN does, which is just a member site, or Patreon. Patreon is what a lot of people use because it's kind of a member site built in.
Yeah.
But I don't like Patreon because they take too much of your money.
Really?
Yeah, they have a fee structure that charges your patrons money, basically, and Patreon takes just too big of a cut for me to
And can you
make
have
it
an
worth
hour
it.
conversation with the head of Patreon?
I know, right? Yeah. So, anyway, it's but one of the things I thought about doing was just possibly offering something live in conjunction with the just the members of the podcast network.
Ooh.
But I would need a site that they can access, and I wouldn't be doing it on Facebook Live or something like that. It'd be something that's password protected
Oh,
that only they can
interesting.
see, So, but I think just keeping this as a Facebook Live thing and on
Yeah.
Richie's YouTube channel, if you want to watch the replay in a slightly higher quality format.
Definitely much higher quality.
Yeah, much higher quality, I should say. Then do that. But I don't think this podcast has enough value right now for me to spend the time on the audio. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'd rather it just be interactive and live, and then on your page as well for the higher quality, and then done.
Interesting.
So
Because if we switch this over to something like Twitch,
yeah,
that might be more fun.
I mean, we can do that. We just need to make sure we get the listeners. So
Interesting. That's
I don't
true.
care. And I'm looking. I like the live stuff, and I'm looking into some other things because OBS is free, but it's limited. There are some paid services you can do that actually remove the lag. For
True.
one thing, OBS has a built-in lag.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, and there are some that allow you to broadcast simultaneously to multiple outputs.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But there's like a reason everyone uses OBS.
because it's free.
That too, but also reliable
Oh well,
and constantly updated.
right. But that's in the realm of free ones.
True.
If you go to a paid one, as long as it's not $1 million, but if you go to a paid one,
Yeah.
you'll also get reliability, and you'll get the multiple output. Because I would love to simultaneously broadcast to Facebook Live, YouTube, I guess Twitch,
Yeah.
Whatever, and simultaneously broadcast to all of those.
Yeah.
But of course, the other thing that's really, I'm not going to do any of that until we have an Ethernet connection to this goddamn computer. We're not even, we shouldn't even be doing this over Wi-Fi as it is. The only reason it's working now and it's not like terrible video quality is because there's nobody here.
Yeah. There was like one person up front.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, we're dropping like 0.7% of our frames right now.
Yeah, you can switch to the outro.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Wait.
So anyway, that's that's where we're at with that. I'm going to put one last pitch out for anybody that happens to see this now or later. I don't care when you're watching this because it's probably always true. But we have a number of volunteer tasks I want to try to get done. I've had one volunteer for our social media strategist, basically, social media coordinator, to basically do some social media for us. And I just wrote up a strategy for that this morning. I don't know if she's going to do it and stick with it or not, but I don't see why we couldn't have a few people doing it. So what I'm giving for that is while you're doing that, I'll make you a pro member of the APN, a pro subscriber for free. That's a $20 a month value. I can't pay you right now, but I can do that. So we have social media. We have I want somebody to manage the newsletter that we want to start sending out at the beginning of the year. And that's really just like one newsletter, maybe two, depending on the membership structure we have that I want to send it to. But I think just one newsletter that goes out to our email list that we currently have. And you would also help create more emails, help cultivate more emails and send that newsletter in different places. But it would basically be like a form letter. We're not talking about creating a ton of content here.
No.
I want links to all the shows that are coming out that week. If we have any bonus content for members, or if we have a discount code going on, I want to put a discount code in every newsletter so people that get that, they'll always get that weekly discount code. And then stuff like that. If you have MailChimp, you just have this stuff all formatted in there, and really all you have to do is come in and make sure the information's still right, change the information for the shows coming out that week, and you're done. It's like 10 minutes worth of work.
Well,
and you hit bam, send.
Sometimes, because at the bookstore it actually was a two-person process and would take like a week plus.
Well, I've seen their newsletters though, and they put a lot of information in it.
That's true.
This isn't like that. I don't want something. This is an audio network. I don't want something that somebody's going to have to sit there and read a bunch of crap in their inbox. I want them to get a bunch of information about what's coming out in the APN this week. Have a discount code for the shop and be done with it. If we want to get more complicated later on and have, some write-ups and stuff and maybe some, some other information, fine. But I'm not into that right now.
Really? You're not going to do announcements of new shows or we're going to be at this PodCon? Or
obviously we'll do that, but I'm saying it's not going to be a long, complicated write-up. This shouldn't take more than 30 minutes for someone to put together. It's not going to be a two-person multi-day job. And I want it done weekly. I want it to go out on Sundays, or Monday morning or something like that. So anyway, pro membership to anybody who wants to sign up to help us get that done. And then there's any number of other small things. There's some marketing tasks and things like that. But marketing is way more difficult. I had some volunteers for marketing, which means looking for advertisers and sponsors. But I can't have people just sending me information. I need someone to actually take that over and kind of run it. And for that kind of job, it's obviously going to be a little bit more work, but I would need somebody who's passionate about public archaeology and outreach, and would possibly be willing to take some sort of stake in the APM later on, as their payment until their marketing efforts actually make us money, and then we could pay them.
Oh my God, that makes me think of all the people who originally joined Apple, and they're like, I don't want stock options, I just want money.
Yeah, always take a cut of the company. Anyway, what was I saying? That's actually a podcast I heard not too long ago, was about an equity stake. This guy, he didn't say what he did really, but he basically consulted for big companies, and he would make his cut on the consulting fee was hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, he made tons of money, but the companies, based on the information he was generating for them, were making millions and hundreds of millions of dollars, right?
Wow.
Like, he would do this consulting, get his cut, and walk, and it was a healthy cut, but they would make 100 times that amount. That's the whole point. So he made the conscious decision one time, and he thought he'd try this with a new client, was basically he said, actually, give me way less money than you normally would, because I still need money to pay the bills right now. Give me way less money, but give me a 3% stake in your company. So he got equity in their company basically as payment. So now it's the same analogy as like a toll bridge. Like, would you rather get paid for building a bridge, or would you rather get $1 for every car that goes across that bridge for the rest of time? You know what I mean? Like, do you want the one and done, or do you want the ongoing income stream? And that's where he said the equity stake came in. So if anybody ever offers you equity in their company, then take it. Because sure, there's a chance the company's going to go under, but there's also a chance that it becomes successful.
Yeah.
And now you've got money coming in.
I mean, think how many people passed on Google. It's like,
I know.
I'd rather just go with Ask Jeeves.
Right?
Or Bing.
Ridiculous. So, anyway, that's all I've got this week. Hopefully for the next few weeks anyway, we can start to get a little more regular with this.
Oh, hopefully. Although next week is Christmas.
Next week is Christmas.
And I am totally going to go home.
Heading across the mountains?
Yeah, thankfully I get Christmas off, but I still get holiday pay.
Ah, yeah. Cool.
That is so weird. It just, like, this says it ended.
All right. Anyway, hopefully this ends better than it started, because we're getting some weird indications over here. But everybody, thanks for watching. That did watch this live, and that will watch this on the replay. Send us your comments and suggestions. Chris at archaeologypodcastnetwork.com.
And find me at Happy Archaeology Fun Time on YouTube.
There you go.
And I might even start a website or something soon.
There it is. Yeah. And subscribe to that channel, because if you can't watch this live, honestly, there's not a whole lot of point in watching the replay on this channel unless you want to leave comments, which will show up in real time for anybody else. Yeah, but I like it, because if you comment, now the comment's in context. You know what I mean? But if you don't care about that and you just want to see a high quality replay of this, go over to Richie's channel and watch it there, and subscribe so you know when
you don't have to watch it. Like, usually I just listen to podcasts. Yeah,
there really isn't much to watch except our ugly mugs. So, or our really good looking mugs. You know, that was cheesy. Cool. Yeah, so that's all I've got, and we will see you next time. Merry Christmas for anybody who supports that. Happy holidays for those that do other things. Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah, happy holiday season. You know what?
Well, you're forgetting the most important one.
What?
Happy Festivus.
Oh my God, Festivus for the rest of us. Happy just freaking wintertime. I love snow, I love cold, I love winter.
That's not happening.
I love it.
Here. No, I mean, that's not happening here.
I know. Well, we can go 30 minutes away and we're at Lake Tahoe. So.
Yeah, I just put mud and snow tires on my truck.
Nice.
And it's like, for what? Just so I can drive around the sunshine.
I know, pretty much. All right, guys.
All right.
Thanks a lot.
All right. We had some dead air for a few seconds.
I don't think it ever came up.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
We should, however, be live now.
There's a notification.
There you go. And
why is background music?
That's so strange. See, look at that. It's still going, and yet...
That's weird. Well, it says we're live.
All right.